Okay, so I wanted to make a separate video for multiplying and simplifying radicals. So when we have something like this problem in number 1 here, last year you may have learned that you should take 3, the square root of 8 times 9 is 72, and then simplify it from there. That will work when we are simplifying radicals. However, I'm also going to show you a different way to do this because it's really important that once we get into complex numbers, you no longer can combine them like this. And you'll see why once we get to complex numbers. But I will go ahead and finish solving this one. So 72 is going to break up into the square root of 36 times the square root of 2, which is going to be 3 times 6 times the square root of 2, which becomes 18 square roots of 2. Okay. Now the other option for this is 3 square roots of 8 times the square root of 9. Well, the square root of 9 becomes 3. Then it's just a matter of breaking up this square root of 8, which is the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. The square root of 4 becomes 2, so we have 3 times 2 times the square root of 2 times 3. Now anything that's not under the square root sign gets multiplied. 3 times 2 is 6, times 3 is 18. And then we still have the square root of 2. So either way, we get the same answer. However, you're going to want to practice it using this method because this is what we're going to have to do when we're dealing with complex numbers. If you're trying it like this, yes, this was okay last year, and it is okay when we're just simplifying radicals. So for this assignment, it will work, but in the future, you're going to have to resort back to this way. So I would recommend solving those like this. Now, there are also some division problems on here. So let me actually point out one more multiplication one before I move on to the division though. So if you are multiplying one like this in number 3, now that one, you can't simplify the square root of 3 and the square root of 3. So because those are already simplified, the last thing that you're going to have to do is multiply them together. So once you have each radical simplified as much as possible, then you can go about actually multiplying them together. Well, that then becomes 4 times 3, which is 12. And if you were to type that into a calculator, you'll see you'll get 12. All right, so on to the division problems. Let's do this one, number 5. 4 square roots of 3 divided by the square root of 2. Now, this is what we call rationalizing the denominator. You're not allowed to have a radical in the denominator. So what we're going to have to do is we have to multiply by a number on the top and bottom. We call it the undercover 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by the same thing on the bottom. So what we're essentially doing is squaring the square root of 2. So then what we end up with on the top is 4 square root of 3 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 6. Over on the bottom we'll get the square root of 4. Now the reason I did that was because now I can take the square root of 4 and the bottom is just 2. On the top I'll have 4 square roots of 6. Now just as before, anything that's not under the radical, I can simplify that more. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So what I get is 2 square roots of 6. One like this. Here, the square root of 7 divided by 2. That one, there's nothing that you can do because there's no radical in the bottom. So that problem is done when you get to that point. Okay, so I will leave it there. You can finish up the rest, and if you have questions, let me know.